Hey everyone! This episode is our Welcome to Foros episode, and is an optional, spoiler-free exposition episode to explain the history of Foros leading up to the events of Session 1 and onward. If you don't want the extra lore, you can skip this one and start listening to Session 1, and learn about the setting's history alongside our players.
Hey, before we dive in, I just want to address one very specific term. In the world of Foros, we refer to nature spirits as clerics, spelled K-L-E-R-I-K, and the traditional cleric, D&D class, will be referred to as priest. We will do our best to keep that clear throughout. The planet Foros hangs in a sacred balance, ever wavering. Incarnated forces of the planet writ its fate with a careful yet impartial hand, as ink upon paper. Humanity now places its own hand on the pen, seeking to wrest control of their fate. But if the pen should break, its ink would mark a sanguine stain, an unmendable disfigurement. Part 1. The Age of Clerics. The wisest humans say clerics are as ancient as the planet itself. Some take physical form, while others embody aspects of the world around us, like the wind, the mountains, or the love we share with one another. And though some clerics demand the respect and adoration of entire civilizations, others garner annoyance, indifference, or even fear of humans. The clerics shaped Foros, sowing their magic into the soil and granting us nourishment, where otherwise our plows till barren soil. In turn, they ask that we give them something: our adoration. The most pleasing humans were granted the greatest gift of all: access to their theic magic. For a millennium, the planet carried on in this cadence, undisturbed. Part 2. The Discovery of Apocrypha. Apocrypha was first discovered in the land of Izan. Had the Izanian copper miners in the year 878 TE, the Turanian era, known what they'd unearthed, they might have buried it. When their bosses asked, they would have said only copper. But to them, their managers, and even the best researchers of the kingdom, the dense white gas deep beneath the ground bore the same significance as a stone in the ocean. Saad ibn Nadir, a refugee from the High Kingdom of Nocturne, was unaware that he was about to make history. Saad was tasked with investigating the gas by the king of Izan, which he named Apocrypha. At first, the substance appeared to be totally inert, but Saad persisted and discovered that Apocrypha could be refined into an iridescent, milky liquid called cryphazine. And perhaps more importantly, that cryphazine could be infused into steel to create a wavy patterned alloy that was harder and sharper than other metals, and with cryphazine to fuel it, could cast magic without the blessing of a cleric. The natural cadence of the planet crumbled. A new tempo was written. Part 3. The Summer Coup. In 883, Saad presented King Thesian of Izan with the prototype Otto, a self-propelled carriage which could travel faster than carriages drawn by horse. King Thesian was delighted by the invention, and for 3 years poured the kingdom's resources into the development of Apocrypha technology, or APOC tech. However, in 886, Thesian called for all APOC tech development to cease in Izan, for the Apocrypha well to be buried permanently, and for all records of Apocrypha and its derivatives to be destroyed. Scholars have debated the reasoning ever since, but the truth is still unknown. This decree faced fierce resistance by Thesian's military, in particular by a young man named General Wolfred Malus. When Wolfred's protests did not sway King Thesian, he and several other generals in the Azanian army launched a coup. General Wolfred and his army stormed King Thesian's castle, whose walls were no match for the army's apoc-tech weaponry. After a short military trial, Thesian and his family were executed, and General Wolfred was established as a military dictator in the wake of the conflict. Wolfred's first decrees worked to diminish the importance of clerics in Azanian society, acts that were the foundation for the later outlawing of cleric worship. General Wolfred then launched an unending military campaign using apoc-tech, the likes of which Foros had never seen. 4 years later, he crowned himself Emperor Wolfred Malus, the sovereign of a techno-magical empire that would soon threaten to change the entire planet. Part 4. Sod's Successor. Nearly a decade into the Malus Empire's conquests, Sod ibn Nadir retired from his role as chief engineer at the LAK, Lapida Auto Carriages, the Malus Empire's primary apoc-tech research and development organization. His hand-selected successor was Tui Lin Fan, more commonly known as Lin the Mechanic. Sod left behind a foundation on which Lin built a structure of technological development that nobody else could have dreamed. She developed engineering marvels, massive spider-like war machines, prosthetic limbs, and locomotives which travel by rail and reshaped the very nature of war. Perhaps most impactfully, Lin developed the catalyst. With this invention, the transition of Foros to a new era was complete. Catalysts exist as an entirely separate class to all other apoc-tech. Catalysts are handheld, with a barrel extending perpendicular to the handle, and an interface, most commonly a dial, where the two meet, which allows the holder to shape the magic inside to their will. Catalysts are only available to the wealthiest members of society. Most apoc-tech devices are only able to serve a single function. Catalysts, due to their versatility, require incredibly precise engineering and tuning. As such, they must be handcrafted by master artisans. Only a handful of these people exist, those people being Lin and her top engineers. In the year 909, Emperor Wolfred Malus tasked Lin with the development of a catalytic superweapon. The development process of this machine took 15 years, and in 924 TE, the prototype was finished. The machine utterly dwarfed any weapon seen before and required converting the ballroom of Wolfred's castle just to house its massive frame. The hulking chromatic steel machine dominates the space and requires a massive underground reservoir of cryphazine to let loose a single blast of magical energy. Lin named this device the Cosmic Mold. 1 year later, Wolfred ordered the use of the Cosmic Mold on the Eklinaeos, a city-sized ziggurat which housed the capital of the Tagmatic Order, a monastic organization dedicated to researching and advocating for clerics throughout the known world. A storm of stones rained from the heavens, and in its wake, nothing remained save for a massive crater. Even now, 5 years later, nothing living inhabits that space. A debilitating sickness called carcinoplasis sickens anything that comes too near. Part 5. Present day and the diplomatic mission. 5 years have passed since the destruction of Tagma. It is the year 930 TE, and Emperor Wolfred has tasked his youngest son, the socialite Norman Malus, to travel with a diplomatic party to the High Kingdom of Nocturne and establish a trade agreement once there. A few weeks after the diplomatic party arrived, Lynn landed in Nocturne in her new prototype airship.
Thanks for listening. Echoes of Malus is created and DM'd by Jake Parsley. Additional writing and combat design are provided by Zachary Cox. Our audio editor is Drake D. White. Our music is by Public Circuit. And our concept art is by EternalGem. Your producer is me, Leanne Jay. We'll see you next time.